Welcome back, you beautiful people, to episode 13, lucky number 13 of the DVP, the Dan Vikas program, brought to you by myself, your host, Dan Vikas. We're going to talk about the decision to not make a decision. I have the gift and the pleasure of working with folks ranging from the collegiate athlete age to senior professionals who have been in their role for 30 plus years with a career that is star-spangled in terms of who they've worked with, the impact, all that sort of stuff. And one thing that I find that always comes up as a reflection of how they live are those moments when things were happening the way they wanted them to, they were making decisions. Let me rephrase. They were making intentional decisions to move in a certain direction. And when we reflect back and we look on, what was powerful? When did you feel like your strongest self? When did you not feel enabled or capable? Many times, whether we're brought right back to it or some way through conversation or some memory, we're brought back to this point of those moments, those times, those patterns when they began to decide to not make a decision. When things would slow down or things wouldn't be clear or there was a lot of frustration, it would usually happen. It would usually be surrounded by either a period of time or a series of circumstances where the decision they made was to not make a decision. And I want to focus on that today as we chat, as we discuss. Not making a decision is a decision. I don't know who said it first, but we like to, I'm going to reference what they said, but we like to blame a lot of things on habits or patterns. They're like, it's just a habit, man. You know, waking up that way, it's just a habit. Staying up till 1, it's a habit. And this person said, it's not a habit once you recognize it. If you recognize it's happening, if you have the gift of that self-reflection to be like, oh, I see this happening, it is no longer a habit. Habits, in some fundamental way, are subconscious. They have been programmed, intentionally or not, but it's been programmed. And so there's an inclination towards it that it is subconscious. But once you acknowledge, once you're aware, especially when it doesn't line up with the intentions that you have, it is no longer a habit. It is a choice. And when we get into these areas or these points or these times in life when things seem to just be happening to us, rather than we're creating something or we're moving in a certain direction or we're moving with intentionality, we're almost reacting to everything. Every day is just kind of like try to survive type of thing. It generally is the result of the choice to not make a decision, of the choice to not choose what to do, of the choice to not just say this is it and move in that direction. And there's a bigger side to that. And maybe bigger isn't necessarily the right word, but there is a more profound side to that. Yes, the impact, the result and what we feel, what we see is a little bit of chaos. Is life lived reactively? Is feeling like we're responding rather than we're organizing? It's feeling like we're managing rather than we're living our life. Managing rather than creating our life. Managing rather than experiencing the fullness of our life. As that happens, when we're in that zone, and I totally lost my train of thought. I was talking about that, but what tends to happen, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. When we're in that area where we feel like we're managing, or we feel like we're just reacting, at some point we've fallen into this thought process, this this decision-making process, just let things happen. Here we are. We came full circle. Thank you, Jesus. And what's actually happening in the background, for whatever reason, and I'm not labeling this as good or bad, but for whatever reason, there's a reason we're making this choice. For whatever reason, we've begun to choose that our intentionality is not important. That our time and our energy are not important, that they're not worth being thoughtful about. When you get to that zone, that area, that feeling that, this is going to happen, not really worried about tomorrow, and then, of course, you get there and you're just reacting to stuff, what you've ultimately said to yourself primarily, because life comes, Timothy Chalamet said this, and he was quoting somebody, I don't know where the original quote comes from, but life comes from within. Right? It comes from within, not from without. And so when we realize that we actually create life by our own experiences and attitude and circumstance, wow, everything changes. What we're saying to ourselves when we're not intentional with our time and our days, first and foremost, is that, oh, it doesn't matter. My time doesn't matter. My energy doesn't matter. My thoughts, my intentions, my goals, my desires, my purpose, my value doesn't matter. My impact doesn't matter. It's not worth it. It's not needed. Which in one sense, Lord forgive me, is a slap in the face. Like it's just spitting on this gift that God has given you of your life. Every single day you wake up, and I need to honor this more myself. So this isn't me calling anyone out. This is beautiful self-reflection as I share it with you. As we choose that it doesn't matter, we're spitting in the face of the gift of life that we have been given every single day. I woke up. If you're listening or watching to this, you woke up. If you're watching it, you have eyesight that works. If you're listening, you have ears that work. If you're somehow watching this, but you can't hear and you're understanding, that's pretty spectacular and miraculous. But we're here. That's a gift. It's a miracle. It's a gift. You didn't have to wake up. You know how many perfectly healthy people, freak incident, they pass away. They don't wake up. Today's a gift, fully and entirely. And so when we take that gift and we pee it away, it's like, it is what it is. And not necessarily I'm fairly certain I just heard a car accident outside. I'll be right back. And we're back. That's all taken care of. It was a car crash, kind of crazy. Everyone involved, relatively fine. Emergency services are on the way. No one's in dire need. They're off the street, so that's good. And no one's like seriously injured or bleeding out. Back to what we were talking about. Actually, perfect example. There's going to be interruptions in life. That's fine. That doesn't necessarily correlate to the whole not organizing your day. There's still intentionality here. And then there will be moments and things that call your attention that you need to go take care of. Wonderful. But when there's intention behind the entirety of the day, the whole course of action, it doesn't take a moment to just get right back into the beat and keep going. And so here we are. And when we don't use that gift, when we don't live with that intentionality, when we don't organize with some form of this is what I need to do, first and foremost, right, we're telling ourselves and we're telling God, the gift of my life that you have given to me is not worth intentionality. My time is not valuable enough to make sure that I'm devoting it to something important, something that's moving things forward, something that's impacting others, something that is giving of myself for other people, loving, respecting, and uplifting. And I don't mean something crazy big. I don't mean you have to be the president of the United States, but if your task, if you're a teacher, a third grade teacher, and you don't move with intentionality through your day, you go, God, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to take care of these kids. It's not worth it to bring them the best out of God. It's not worth it for me. Doesn't make a difference for them. Meh. And that silently, but very aggressively builds. When we move without intention, because then the only choice there is to react. When we tell the world that my attention and my intentions and my desires and goals and pursuits don't matter, the world says, cool, I've got 900 things, or if you're that teacher of the classroom, let's say there's like 20, 30 kids, I've got 20 or 30 little human beings that are going to take your attention, your time, and your energy. Because you don't really have any intention to give, so anything else that you thought you might have needed to do or get to or pay attention to, they're going to take that away. What you had will be taken away. Because clearly it's not that important. So the world, life, makes a decision for you. You choosing to not make a choice about how you're going to spend your time, or in a or B, yes or no scenario, you choosing I should go, I should work from home, I should go into the office, I don't really know. Life's gonna decide for you. It's gonna get to a point where it's too late in the day to make that decision anymore. You just have to do what you gotta do because you have to react. There's stuff you have to do, meetings you have to hop into. If it sounds like I'm speaking from experience, it's because I am. I'm not above this. I'm reflecting on what I've experienced as well as the conversations that I've shared with people from the college level, students and athletes, to people who have tenured positions in their role and in their industry, and who are phenomenally accomplished, who are brilliant, who are masterminds at the skill set that they have acquired and can apply. What is true for the college student or the college athlete remains true for me, remains true for someone with years of experience beyond myself. And so I want to share that with you, because if you feel that your days get away from you, if you feel like you just can't control, things happen all the time, you're always reacting, it is a result of your choice to not make a choice about how you're going to spend your day, how you're going to spend your time, about how you respond to something, about what you're going to do, about being thankful or not. It's a choice. And the good news is, if it's a choice, that means you can choose what to do about it. So if your choice is to not make a choice, which has not been helpful and leaves you feeling stranded, stranded, aloof, and all over the place, wonderful. You're now aware, and you can make the decision, you can make a choice to not live that way anymore and start applying the choices. And it's okay. You want to know what the most beautiful thing is about all of that? I had a conversation with a brilliant young man who is a dual sport college athlete, and I think they're D2, D1 or D2. It's a high caliber school. And one of the most remarkable things about this young man is his ability to just make the choice. He's thoughtful about it. He brings it up with the people he trusts. He talks about it. He discerns. And then he just does it. And whether it's the right or the wrong choice, he makes the choice and makes it right. And we get way too caught up about, is it the right or wrong choice to drink water? Or maybe I should have, maybe I should skip coffee this morning and just drink water. Sorry, as I picked it up, I realized I was actually pretty thirsty. It's less about the actual decision so much as it is about making a decision. Make the decision and then make it right. You have that power. You have that ability. And that is the beautiful thing about the decision to make a decision, the choice to make a choice. Life's still going to throw whatever it's got at you. But when you choose to choose, when you decide to decide, you're not managing life, you are creating. You are showing up as the best, most thoughtful, responsible person that you can, as that most authentic, real, present version of yourself, and you're responding to whatever life has by saying, cool. I might not know all the details. I might not know everything surrounding this scenario, but I trust the experience that I've had up to this point to guide me through this decision and moving forward. And what you've now reinforced, rather than saying, God, don't care about my gift, and also my time's not that valuable, what you've now reinforced is, Lord, thank you for the gift of this life, the gift of everything I've experienced and gone through that you've given me. And my time is important. My intentionality is critical. And so I'm going to apply that and use that in this scenario. I'm going to move forward, and wouldn't you know, boom, you're back on track. Thank you for joining episode 13 of the DVP, the Dan Vegas program. I love y'all. Have a beautiful, it's Friday, it's a little late, so have a beautiful Friday and weekend, and I'll see you next time.